Ake mbukeli we-expressions, I'm sure njoba uhleli lapha ekhaya usuyizwele nawe ukuthi Tuesday the 18th of September marked a very significant day in the history of South Africa. Essentially, it ended on a high. Now, this is when the Constitutional Court made the decision to decriminalize the use and cultivation of marijuana. Now, as part of our Heritage Day special shows, we are going to be exploring the various cultures. Namhlanje, we speak to a family which has not only made marijuana part of their lifestyle, but prefer to now call it a lifestyle as well as a culture. We're going to be exploring what they plan on doing with this significant judgment, what they make of it, as well as what lessons they plan on passing on to their children. So follow me. Mama, ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi mhlawumbe wena i-judgment or i-ruling le yenziwe i-Constitutional Court isho ukuthini for wena?
Isho likhulu kithi ngoba sizokwazi ukuthi manje masihlele emakhaya sisebenzise iganja yethu noma umuthi wethu siwusebenzise ngokukhululeka ngaphandle kokusaba mhlamba abamthetho ngoba mabakuthola uhleli sometimes mawubukeka njengerasta banukuthi bajampele kuwe kakhulu batshela ukuthi khona into oyiphethe mara mangabe manje kukhona i-judgment efana nale iyasikhulula ukuthi umuthi wethu siwusebenzise ngokukhululeka.
Abantu abaningi kade bayikhuluma bayikhuluma kabi indaba yamarijuana ukuthi amarijuana awekho right kade amarijuana amarasta asithandaza ngawo and then asithandaze ngawo nje kuphela nokuthi siyaphuza for ihebe emuthi nemiroho siyayidla futhi nayo nemnikelo because amarasta abantu abachumana nojaja lesikhathini esiningi
thina sithi abantu abayisebenzisayo ababe even more disciplined so that we can also change the narrative ukuthi abantu abasebenzisa iganja abantu abanjani.
So sizakungichazele kahle ukuthi how do you make clothes from marijuana?
Kukho ihemp kuthathwa strains from it, and then abantu who are well knowledgeable about these things, they create fabric out of it. Just hemp nje iyodwa without mixing it with anything. And then there's House of Hemp and Manor House. They produce hemp materials. If you are going to use this herb, I would advise that you use it clean and pure. May not mix it with anything, because as izinto zivelayo zokuba this herb does this to you and that, you know, zivela from people who mix it with different things, and then manje iyenza another effect on your head, you know. Otherwise, you are not used in the right way, it is good for you.
Mina ngithi intsha isebenzise lo muthi ngokuhlakanipha. Bangahambi bawuhloniphe bangahambi babheme estradeni because thina sithandaza ngawo siyawuphuza umuthi kithi.
Legalize it, don't criticize it. That was Peter Tosh's appeal on the use of marijuana. And guess what? In South Africa, it has now become legal to smoke dagga in your home. On that note, we want to say hello, Dumelang, hello, South Africa. Welcome to Expressions. This is definitely the place for you to air your views. I'm your host, Jacqueline Mapala.
I'm your host, Umqolisi Masango. Sizagine Bkhoma from our studios in Auckland Park, Johannesburg. Namhlanje Jackie, we're discussing the unanimous landmark judgment that has decriminalized marijuana. We ask again this evening, is the legalization of marijuana a progressive or a dangerous move for South Africa's youth?
Well, that's a very important question, because the Constitutional Court has ruled that the private use of cannabis has been decriminalized. This ruling means that dagga can now be cultivated in the private spaces for private adult consumption. Parliament has been given 2 years to change sections on both the Drug and Trafficking Act and the Medicine Controls Act. Meanwhile, individuals are allowed to smoke privately in their own homes while this law adapts to reflect the changes, Mko.
Yes, absolutely, Jackie. At the back of that, with South Africa battling drug abuse amongst the youth, we ask again, is the move to decriminalize marijuana more harmful than progressive? Let's just quickly find out, Wutiwena Mbugeli, what you had to say on the streets. Do take a look at this.
Hi Expressions, my name is Lutoko Chisani and I'm your street benefit today. So what does the legalization of dagga mean to you?
To me, weed has been legal. You know, I don't feel like it's it's been legalized or anything.
It means people who have been arrested for smoking weed must go out, you know what I mean, for carrying weed and stuff like that, because it means now everybody can do it, you know what I mean, and some people have been arrested for that.
There are people out there who don't smoke weed because being a emthethweni. Right now, it's emthethweni, so even if my mom is like, I'm like, it's emthethweni, yeah, that's the thing.
A cop, which I know will happen, searches me and finds a bag of weed. What will happen? You know, that's my biggest question.
Why was weed illegal in the first place? You know, because it doesn't hurt people. There are other things that could be banned, like alcohol. You know,
alcohol gets you messed up, like messed up. You've never like seen someone with a weed face. You know, umuntu on a puza face. Like you've never seen umuntu on a weed face. Never. There's no such thing. It's good for a lot of things. Sivumela ukuthi kahle kahle kubhenywe eSouth Africa. Okusho ukuthi si create le generation engakwazi ukusebenzisa ingqondo zazo ikli. Kumele ukuthi umuntu abheme afaka something engqondweni ukuze abe kulento ayifunayo.
But it's a step in the right direction and a sense of freedom, I guess.
The officials need to be clear about what they mean about the decriminalization of marijuana.
Some mixed reactions there and some blunt comments from young people on this burning issue about the legalization of marijuana. But of course, I'm not going to have this discussion by myself. I am joined in studio by Sipho Mantula, a Rastafarian activist, and in our Durban studio, I'm joined by Adam McKelberg from the Concerned Young People of South Africa. And they say the best things coming true. My co-host Mkolisi is manning our social media corner, bringing some of your insights on this also important conversation. Welcome, Sipho. Welcome, Adam, all the way from Durban. Okay, so let's just continue. So I think Brasipo, I'm going to start it from here. I mean, it's a victorious moment for the Rastafarian as well as the cannabis-using community. But as our poll question sort of put forward, is this a progressive or dangerous move for particularly young people in South Africa?
Greetings and good evening, my sister, and to the viewers. I think this is a very progressive and a very effective move. Despite that, we still have a long way to go. The criminalization of marijuana in Africa, South Africa, it has been a colonial move. It has been a colonial act. Since 1900s, it has been outlawed. But at the same time, if you look at the cultural benefits, since we are in the Heritage Month, I think something that we've missed out of this judgment is to look at the heritage and the cultural use, medicinal use, rather than look at the smoking. And if one looks at the laws, it has taken 10 months for 10 judges to come up with a 70-page document. So if you look at the issues, is that the community, Yamarasta, it is not Rastafarians only. You have traditional healers. You have the Khoi and the Sen. And that is to undermine their identity, their dignity, and their cultural practice. So one can say that it's been high time that since 1994, the parliament has been sitting with colonial and apartheid laws. So it is a good move, but let's allow the youth of this country to have dialogue, debate, and talk and talk.
Mm-hmm. So I want to bring Adam into this conversation. I mean, he's representing the Concerned Young People of South Africa. Adam, I just want to check that you can hear me. So Adam, excellent. So you share a first-hand testimonies from young people speaking about how, dagga is a negative, narcotics within our community. I mean, we hear from some of these testimonies that you've put on your website that, young people are more susceptible to crime, risky sexual behavior, dropping out of school. So I want to understand from your point of view exactly what your objection is, I think.
Well, I have personal experience of the harm that this drug causes, not only physically but psychological as well, and also experience of the suffering that this drug causes within the family and within the lives of those closest to a user. And I'm also part of an organization that works daily with thousands of young people who have been affected negatively by this drug. We can say that dagga is almost without exception, the first drug that a young person in South Africa will use. And we find that there is a rapid rapid progression amongst the young people from dagga into the use of other drugs. Most alarmingly, at the moment, a progression from using dagga to the use of heroin in South Africa.
So you can hear from Adam, I mean, and we've heard this a lot,
Correct,
that dagga is a gateway to harder
yeah,
drugs.
yeah.
And he makes a very important, at least he's highlighting a very important issue around the fact that in South Africa, drug abuse is a serious problem for young people. So how do you respond to this?
Jackie, remember that 17 years when this case was brought before this court, the highest court. The definition, don't define marijuana as a drug. It is a holy herb. That's the first point. Secondly, the issue that you say it's a getaway drug, the recent judgment did not agree with that notion or that evidence. And we saw the Minister of Police immediately blazing, saying this is a getaway drug. Alcohol and cigarette, actually, it is the negative drug and a gateway drug in South Africa. That
so what is
has
good
been
about
allowed.
this drug? And I know we have to wrap it up, but what is good about
is
this
not a
drug? Because
drug.
young people...
It is not a drug.
What is good about marijuana? What is good about the
Marijuana,
holy
I think,
herb?
from the inset, they have raised the issue of medical, religious, but as well as a natural resource that can take South Africa out of its economic crisis. Industrialization. We don't want to push commercialization, because privatization, it promotes capitalism. And we know of that other race that wants to benefit out of this herb. And that's why the young people need to humble and keep cool and listen to the heritage and the history of this sacred herb.
Also, I mean, so there are obviously a lot of complex issues that need to be discussed around this issue. It's not a simple issue. It's not really what you think. So Mbohedi, stay tuned, because we want to get to the bottom of whether this is a good thing or not. On the flip side of this is Mkolisi. You're watching Expressions.
I guess Pinde Sinbingelele Sinamgele, you're still watching Expressions, your hashtag #1 youth current affairs show. Is the legalization of marijuana a progressive or dangerous move for South Africa's youth? That's the big question. I'm now joined by Usiso Amanda Wagwasibia Novuyogazi Nguma. Welcome, ladies, and thank you for joining us with Expressions.
Thank you.
Now, Vuyogazi said to you, Amanda, if you want to boycott something, as a Rastafarian, wena uthini ngalokho?
Ngimtshelile ukuthi into eyenza ukuthi ngingahlukani notshwala ukuthi utshwala bube legal bengakazalwa. And ayikho into engayenza ngotshwala bu legal abukho right, but with weed into engiyazi ngayo ukuthi abantu ababhemi weed la engiqhamuka khona, it's always abantu abangayi phambili ngempilo. So if thina sizothi weed kumele ibe legal eSouth Africa, siqonda ukuthi sakha eSouth Africa engenalo ikusasa. Ngokwami ibulala ikusasa lentsha. As a youth, I don't think. Yeah.
Vuyekwazi research, what would you actually respond to that? Because I know research sometimes iti abantu ababhemi weed baba nama diminished brain cells and so forth. But I want you to respond to that first.
Well, I don't share her sentiments, first of all.
Why?
First of all, Tina, as Ambarasta, we use marijuana as a holy sacrament. We have always used, despite the law saying it's illegal or decriminalized. For us, it has always been legal. We have always been planting, and we have always used it. And it's good for us. Medicinal, sacramental, too, you know. And for example, my husband has had the privilege of removing asthma out of his system through the use of cannabis, and he has just been exclusively smoking it, not even using other oils and things. So marijuana is good, even for the people that are denying it.
Amanda, so when uthini kuko konke lokho?
Lento yokuthi marijuana is a holy, like for me it's not. Ngokwazi kwami it's not, because abantu abasebenzisa insangu kahle kahle, abantu shothi umuntu ongakwazi ukusebenzisa ingqondo yakhe ngendlela eyiyona.
For when sisivuyekwazi akwazi ukusebenzisa ingqondo since
no, that is not in a wrong way.
Okay.
I'm like ukuze wena most abantu bathi it helps them ukuthi babe calm and whatever. Give me ukuthi shothi wena ngaphandle kwayo akwazi ukuba in your calm sense ucabange kahle do izinto be productive so for wena ukuthi ube productive udinga insango okusho thina sakha lesizwe lesi esodinga insango ukuze siqhubekele phambili.
Well, even naleyo, it's not based on any scientific fact or any medicinal fact. It's based on abantu abathile nje who don't want people ubona abantu besebenzisa this herb. It's not really based on the truth futhi. First of all, we must remember marijuana hasn't always been decriminalized or illegal. Iqale apha South Africa uba decriminalized 1922 if I'm not mistaken. Before that time, we have been free using this herb. Traditional people, Rasta people, every African people.
Amanda, before Ngizagowe, advocate, perhaps you can, at the back of Amanda's very critical point, she wanted to know what kind of a society are we trying to build. I know this has been a very long-winded battle. Some years ago, I know there has been some people who had been, dying, literally dying to have this holy herb legalized. But what society are we building is the question.
Community that we should build, it is community of active young people who are not only using drugs and alcohol. I can tell you the first youth celebration in this country in 1995, youth were on a drinking spree. And if you look at our commemorative days, young people use alcohol. And when you look at the responsible use of this herb, the court was clear, saying that it's for the adults, for abantu abadala. So I think for Amanda, interference areas is that, yes, we do want to build a better South Africa with conscious young people, hide the youth who are obsessed by Europe and the Western culture, because into a corner, youth uses many drugs from glue, from benzene. And these are the young people who are our black young people that we should be concerned. Psychologists, I can tell you, they are not right.
Perhaps I can also get to Amanda to respond. But first, at the back of that, I just need to find out ukuthi wena muntu omusha uthini lapha ekhaya. Let's just quickly check in with your expression for this week.
Hi, expressions. Legalization of marijuana is an extremely dangerous move for South African youth because they are going to graduate from using marijuana to using extremely dangerous drugs.
They're saying it's a very dangerous drug. I don't know if you guys, maybe you can get some time to respond. But Matene says on Facebook, it's a dangerous move because now they are feeling happy. Our youth is going to be destroyed. Samuel says both because it's proven good for our health. As for the youth, I say bad because now they have an advantage to use their drugs on and smoke. And this is a disguise in using their herb. Vusi says, I think it's a dangerous move already. Youth is high in schools and are rebellious. Then there's also the Nayawupe dilemma. This seems to be a motivation for them, sort of a green light to say it's good, but the effects thereon are dangerous. And of course, Sibongela Pumuntomusha, remember to keep your comments short and sharp. There's more on this all-important conversation when we return. Remember to phone a friend to tell a friend that the hottest current affairs show is now showing. Back after this.
Welcome back. You're watching Expressions here on SABC 1. Did you tell a friend to tell a friend that the biggest current affairs show is on SABC 1? Today we're speaking about a topical burning issue, and we're speaking about the legalization of marijuana. And we're asking you the poll question, whether is this a progressive or a dangerous move for young people in South Africa? And of course, I'm still with Usipo and Adam, and I want to just link back to Adam in our Durban studios. And I think for you, Adam, I just want to wrap this conversation up, and I want to get your sentiment around what does the future hold for young people living in a country that has now legalized marijuana, considering the fact that young people are stressed, young people are facing a lot of pressures with unemployment. What does their future now look like?
Well, we can be quite grateful that we don't have to imagine what the future will look like now that Dagga has been decriminalized in South Africa. We have a very good study that we've received from Johns Hopkins University that outlines the scenario in Colorado now a couple of years after legalization, which shows that youth cannabis use is up, crime is up, the progression to the use of other harder drugs is up, road car accident fatalities are up, And we are finding that there's quite a unique situation there with regards to employment, whereas they don't have the problems we have with unemployment. They have plenty of jobs available, but they're unable to employ the young people because they're all testing positive for drugs. So that is just gives a basic outline of what it is we can expect in the future.
So according to you, Adam, the future does look a little bit bleak. So we're going to have to let you go and say thank you very much for being on the show. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to just have the last word. There's still a lot of grey areas around this. There's the issue around age limit and the amount of use that is legal at this point in time. I mean, what is your sentiments? Young people are watching this. What is illegal? What is not legal?
Sister Jake, I think there was that grey area that we said that take it back to Parliament, which has to come back and consult. We should urge the young people to be part of the public hearings in terms of the quantity. In 2012, there was a Commission on Culture, Religion and Language that spoke about 100 grams. At the court last year, there was the issue of the minimum usage, and as well as the issue around privacy. It was dealt with that, what is privacy actually? But one can say that the positivities around African-based research and from the oral history of the elders, asibuza abantu abadala ukuthi bone kana kwabone when they were using it, what were the good benefits? Progression or not going forward, I can say to you, marijuana is for the people.
Marijuana is for the people. That's the closing comment from Brasipo.
Thank you very much for joining us, Advocate, this evening. Muntu Mosha, at the back of that, we just need to quickly find out on our voting lines. Please load it. Well, we asked a very big question this evening, and about 50% of you think it is progressive and 50% think it is dangerous. So we literally split in half. Yes.
We're going to go to the video diary right now, Mko?
Yeah, of course. Let's quickly find out what you would like for us to discuss.
Hi, Expressions. Since we're doing matric, we'd like Expressions to talk about career options. Thank you.
Looking forward to that, especially because we know that you're busy with your exams very soon, right?
Very interesting, and we did a very interesting show in Durban, so Abantabasha are really going to enjoy it. Mundo Musha, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you once again to our guests. Cutting Edge is up next, covering a similar topic with Jackie. And of course, from all of us in Expressions, we wish you a spectacular evening going forward. Sale kahle.
Adios, muchachos.